the MVP front runner. If anybody else got to say something different about that, then come see me. I'm right here in Bmore outside the bank. If you got an issue with that, come see me. I'm about that. Big trust. Woo woo. Lamar Jackson in the flesh. Yes, sir. Big trust.
Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Before we get started, I just want to introduce y'all. We got the NFL rushing leader. If anybody got a problem with that, you come see me. We bout that. Big trust. Woo woo. King Henry in the flesh. Woo woo.
It's all jokes. It ain't nothing. It's all jokes.
Which leads us to Baltimore, Tennessee. Biggest upset possibly of the year. What did you think about that game?
I tell you what, I really thought that Lamar Jackson was going to go off. Everybody's just been expecting it all year, and you have bad games. You have bad games.
Well, injuries, man. Injuries are a big part of it. When Mark Ingram being hurt, he looked like Dalvin Cook,
Yeah, well, Dalvin Cook, he put up a good game in New Orleans.
Yeah, in New Orleans. He was hurt in New Orleans, so you bring in an injured running back, you force him to go through fucking. Then you put him in there in a big game, and of course, he 9 carries for 20-something yards. I mean, you just have to, and that goes down to coaching, man. Coaches have to make that decision.
They had time off.
They did. Time off.
Time off. You never can call it. Sometimes it's helpful to teams. Sometimes it's not. I think that might have had a role to play in it.
Well, if you look at Baltimore's season, they had a great season in a fairly interesting division with the Browns suspiciously trying to win games every now and then. But I mean, they're all three of their losses, they had 4 sacks, which was the trick. Was getting to Lamar Jackson, which everybody knew that. That's why in my previous video I was addressing the fact that they are very beatable if you can stop the running game. Without Mark Ingram, the running game is very limited.
True that.
So Lamar Jackson comes out, has the highest passing yards of the season.
He was one of the leading, if not the leading, rushing quarterback in the league this year.
Hey, he broke Michael Vick's record.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only his second game with multiple interceptions.
Absolutely.
And
they got great tight end play this year.
They did.
They got great tight end play. Baltimore's always had a great defense. I don't think that's ever going to change under Jim Harbaugh.
Their team around.
That's right. Back in the day when they had T. Sizzle and all those guys, man, them cats were just unbeatable. And I think that's what set the stage for this year was, does their defense compete the way the defenses have in the past?
Exactly.
And I just don't think
they didn't. I don't think they have all year. I think that teams were just not able to game plan, weren't able to manage against such an efficient rushing attack.
Yeah.
But with Mark Ingram, he's going to come out there and give you 22 yards. I think that anybody could beat him.
Yeah. I don't think he ran to the best of his ability.
Well, he was injured.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are on the Tennessee bandwagon right now because they don't look at stats. Tannehill had 88 passing yards this week when he won that game. That's not going to win you a Super Bowl. He reminds me of Blake Bortles in the playoffs in the recent years. I mean, obviously, all you have to do is stop Derrick Henry, and you can beat that team. Derrick Henry is on his 3rd straight game with 180 rushing yards. So I think that it's clear that that's their go-to attack.
Absolutely. He's an LSU grad, so I expect that out of him.
He's a Heisman candidate winner.
Yes, sir.
Tennessee had no turnovers. Baltimore had 3. But ironically, Baltimore dominated them in the yards. Baltimore had 530 yards to their 300 yards overall, and 29 first downs to their 15. So it is kind of surprising that Tennessee was able to pull it off, but turnovers win games. Yeah. So the next game, which is probably one of the best games I've ever seen in my life, Houston, Texas against the Kansas City Chiefs.
That was a good one.
I've never seen a game like this in my life. Travis Kelce finishes the first half with 3 touchdowns in a matter of minutes. The Kansas City Chiefs put up 6 touchdown drives in a row. Yeah. How good is Pat Mahomes?
Woo! He's good.
Did he not win MVP last year?
He did not. He did not win it this year, but he deserved it. If he would have got it this year, it would have been deserving.
I'm sure he'd rather have the Super Bowl over the MVP any year.
Oh yeah.
He's blessed. He's blessed with a weak division this year. So congrats to him for being able to get it done.
Most definitely.
He really showed up this week. 321 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions.
Ooh.
But what was amazing about this game was the 400 all-purpose yards per team.
He ain't Drew Brees, but he'll do.
Hey, for now he's not, but he might be better. It looks like he's on track to win more Super Bowls than Drew Brees. That's for sure. So we're going to wrap it up with the late game, was the Seattle-Green Bay game, which was fairly entertaining in itself, you know.
Yeah. I tell you, Green Bay is going to be. I think they're going to give San Francisco a good game, but I just don't see him overtaking San Francisco. I had Jimmy G in my fantasy on my fantasy team this
Saints
year.
fans gotta stick with Jimmy G his whole career.
Jimmy G, baby, Jimmy G.
And what did he do? Did he? I
He
saw
put
he
up
had
some
a
decent
catch.
numbers.
I saw he had a catch.
He's peaking when he needs to. I'm not talking about Jimmy Graham. I'm talking about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jimmy.
I'm talking about Jimmy G. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about that sorry-ass tight end.
I'm talking about that quarterback for San Francisco. I think in the end, I think he's going to get it done. I think it's going to be them in Kansas City in the Super Bowl. And I think it's going to be one to watch. I'm going all Kansas City. I'm going AFC
Kansas City's got the AFC. We're looking at Green Bay and Seattle to take the NFC. And I was really impressed with that game as well as Vegas was. They came in. The line opened up at 3.5 and moved to 4.5 before the game. Green Bay managed to win by 5. They won by a half of a point. Marshawn Lynch had 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett had 136 yards. I mean, Seattle's moving in the right direction.
How about Devontae Adams last night?
Green Bay is looking unstoppable. I can't say that it's a no-brainer. You know,
it's not going to be a gimme for San Fran. It's not. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is at the top of his game.
You got the Aaron and Aaron connection. Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones both had 2 touchdowns apiece. Devontae Adams showed out with his own 2 touchdowns, and it proved to me that he is one of the elite wide receivers.
It's going to make for some great championship games this upcoming weekend.
I really wasn't giving Devontae Adams credit until that game. To show up in a big game like that, quarterback had a big part to do with it, but I'm really impressed with what he was able to do.
And, there were a lot of successful teams this year, and especially in the NFC. Some that were new to the winner's circle, and some that didn't do as well as they wanted to. Like New England, for instance. You know, we're going to have a lot of changes coming up this year. There's going to be a lot of changes at the quarterback position for all the teams.
At all positions, man. Every year.
It's going to be interesting to follow throughout the year, and we're going to give you as much information on that as we can.
So, yeah, you're looking at a lot of changes every year in the NFL. But tonight's game, it's Monday morning. Do you guys know what tonight's game is?
They better.
Tonight we have LSU Tigers.
That's right.
Versus the Clemson Tigers.
The Clemson Tigers.
Tigers versus Tigers. Undefeated.
One really good, one on...
Clemson Tigers are coming in on a 29-game straight win streak against LSU, who's playing with their first Heisman and, as far as I can remember, Joe Burrow the Truth, the nickname I've given him. Trevor Lawrence coming in at 25-0 as a starter. He never lost a game. So
yeah, it's going to be a good one.
So who do you got winning the NCAA championship tonight?
I got LSU winning by 10.
Burrow, huh? You gonna cover that?
Oh yeah.
They're only giving up 5.5. You want to give up 10?
Here's the thing, man. They've got a receiving core that is unmatched. And
they do.
And Joe Burrow is one of the most accurate long ball passers we've seen in college ranks in a long time. So not only do you have to worry about the short ball pass, but you got to worry about him taking that deep threat every time they line up. And as long as they're doing that, I firmly believe that LSU is going to win this game by at least 10 points.
So you're taking LSU.
I'm taking LSU. I'm going to say 37-27.
Who do you have given the coaching advantage?
I would literally say, and I just think because he's taken every step that he's needed to take throughout the past few years that he's taken over the team, I'm going to say Ed Orgeron.
Ed Orgeron. Okay.
every year that he's had that team, he's improved.
I'm going to see Orgeron as the wild card in this faction. And I don't think that they're going to be able to pull off the cover. They might be able to get the W, but I honestly, man, Clemson has Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game. Dabo Swinney's clearly one of the best coaches in the league. You know, I mean, I don't understand why he's undefeated, man. 29 games straight.
They've got an opportunity. I've been wrong. I don't think I'm going to be wrong this time. I know it tends a stretch. Excuse me, but that's the direction I'm going in.
I'm very confident in Burrow's ability to blow out a game. I've seen it done. But because of their ability to cover and the fact that they haven't covered every game that they've been a favorite in, I don't know. It could be a conference thing. The ACC and SEC are very different conferences. Obviously, LSU's played 5 top 10 teams this year.
Yeah.
And is still undefeated, so it's really hard to pick a
There's
bet.
so many arguments, because a lot of people can come out and say, well, Alabama may have won that game had they had a healthy Tua, and so on and so forth. But I tell you, it doesn't matter. In this case, he has used the weapons to his advantage. I like that Randy Moss's boy, that tight end. I think he could be. I think he could also be a wild card in this game.
Yeah.
Watch him in the short passing game.
Definitely a weapon. Anything's a weapon when you have a Heisman caliber quarterback, though. But Burrow is not just a Heisman caliber quarterback. I mean, he's setting records in the SEC.
He's the real deal.
This is a guy you're not going to see. You're not going to see a player like this for a while. So you guys tune in, make your bets how you will. I'm torn on it, but I'm going to have to take Clemson plus the points and hope that it's just a field goal difference.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Overtime Live.
Thank you.
This is going to be a show. Burrow broke the single-season SEC record for touchdowns and yards this year.
Yeah.
And Clemson allows the fewest points and the second fewest yards in the NCAA.
I think for Clemson, I think ATN's going to be, as does everybody else, I think ATN's going to be the...
That's NFL bound.
He's going to be, I think, the wild card tonight. If LSU can shut him down, they may have a chance of scoring, going up by 10, winning by 10. But if they don't, it's going to be a close game.
I don't think there's any wild card to it. I think Etienne's going to show out, and I think he will be the deciding factor. Clemson's going to be coming in. It started out at a -6, but now LSU is giving up 5.5 points, and I don't see them covering that against that Clemson team.
That's too much.
So we're going to see what happens. Clemson's lost 3 games against the spread this year, and LSU's lost 4 games, plus a push against the spread. So it's like,
Yeah, they won
the
things that mattered.
So what we're looking at here is, after this divisional weekend, Minnesota coming in +7, couldn't get it done. 49ers dominated them. Baltimore Ravens coming in -10 against Tennessee, couldn't get it done. Tennessee dominated them. Seattle Green Bay coming in at a 4.5. Couldn't get it done. Green Bay dominated them. And now we're looking at the Texas Chiefs, and we finally have a favorite covering with the -10 because Patrick Mahomes is going to win the Super Bowl this year, and he is the best quarterback in the league, and he probably will be for the next 10 years. So, other than that, Julian Edelman's jumping on cars, getting arrested.
What? I did not know about that.
Patriots are having a rough year, I guess. Maybe they're all having trouble dealing with the transition from elite to nobodies, but everybody has to go through that, It comes back around. Eventually, you'll go from nobody to elite again.
As long as it wasn't TB's car, I think we'll be all right.
It might have been. Apparently, all the evidence.
He might have been jumping on TB's car because TB told him he was leaving next year.
Hey, there's no telling what the real meaning behind it was. But,
I want to say happy Mardi Gras to everybody. This is a Mardi Gras season coming up. We got parades coming up. We'll be coming at you. Maybe possibly from a couple of parades this year. We'll be back with you, and we'll give you more information.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Overtime Live Sports Bet Radio. Your host, B. Young. Special guest, DJ Rage. Expect him to be back very often.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe, and tune in next week when we have our conference.